It's time for the Money Puzzle Podcast. With good conversations and realistic solutions to the money puzzles we all face every day. I'm your host, financial advisor, chartered financial consultant, and president of Edgen Insurance and Financial, Robert Edgen. Now let's get this show started. Hi there, hello, and welcome to the Money Puzzle Podcast. I am Robert Edgen, and I'll be your guide for the ride for the next few minutes. Each week, we look at a different piece of the money puzzle and practical ways to solve it so you can have the financial confidence you deserve and the future that you dream of. This is episode number 9, and today we are talking about how we talk to ourselves about money and how we talk to others about money. Now, I'm not really much of a woo-woo, wax philosophical kind of guy, but it's hard to argue with science, and science says that the way we talk to ourselves and to others about money really does matter. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm excited to get into that conversation. I'm actually just excited to have gotten into the office. It is almost the end of May. We had a full-blown blizzard here in Colorado Springs last night. So I've got the entire office to myself. It's nice, it's peaceful, it's quiet. I can get a lot done this morning. But before we get any of that done and get into today's hot topic, so I thought we would take a minute and let's look at some news. Today's news article comes from Yahoo Finance, and the headline reads, "Finders Keepers, Police say no way after $30,000 spills on the road." Police in Michigan are appealing to people to surrender their instant riches after a box with $30,000 fell off the back of a truck. Authorities in Grand Haven, Michigan say drivers stopped Thursday to pick up the cash for themselves, causing a traffic jam on US 31. Only $2,500 was immediately recovered, and eventually, as of the time of this podcast, roughly another $4,500 had been turned into police, but most of the money was still missing. So, what would you do if you found a box full of cash? This question has been the premise of countless movies and secret camera shows, and I know it wasn't one of my favorite daydreams when I was young. What would I do if I found that big duffel bag full of cash? What would I spend? Where would I go? What was all of those things that I would do? Those were fantastic daydreams, but then I grew up, and along with those daydreams, I started thinking about the other side of the coin. What if I was the one for somehow in some way forgot that I had a box of $30,000 sitting on the hood of my car and I drove off? What would I want to happen? Then what would I want others to do? Probably turn it in, which is a bummer because, man, morals and conscience are such a drag on good daydreams. But it turns out that sometimes, in fact, most times, the right thing to do is also the legal thing to do, as the police in Michigan are trying to remind the people of right now. Just because someone dropped something or forgot something doesn't mean that it's yours. On a side note, the right thing to do is also to put your box full of cash in the car first thing as soon as you get to your vehicle. Or if for some reason you like to carry around bags of money, I would suggest chaining it to your wrist or do something to make sure that you don't forget that it's with you. All right, that's it for today's news. I've got the link to the full story in the show notes if you want to read it. But for now, let's get to today's hot topic. For the most part, I don't believe that we will things into existence. I'm more of an action equals consequence kind of guy, and I believe that there are both positive and negative consequences that we get from the actions that we take. However, science and the study of human behavior have a lot to say about our financial state, starting with what we tell ourselves about money and how we talk to others about money. It turns out that our behaviors, more than our investment returns or market timing or anything else, have the biggest impact on our finances and our wealth. Now, I'll be honest, as someone who has always chosen to work my ass off and do whatever it takes to be successful, I do have a hard time getting on board the think it into existence train. But I do believe that the mindset we have about our money does impact what we believe we can or cannot do. And if we don't believe we can do something, we probably never will. Not because it's not possible, but because you've got to believe something is possible before you'll put in the appropriate effort and actions to make it possible. Let me ask you something. Do you have any friends or family members who are always broke, always struggling, always getting deeper in debt, and it's always someone else's fault, or it's always because something's going wrong? Or friends who can never go out to dinner with you because they're just too poor to do anything but pay their bills? These poor people can never get ahead in life because they just don't have any luck and nothing good ever happens to them. Let me ask you another more serious question. Are you that kind of person? Why is it that some people can never catch a break, never get ahead, and never have any money? For starters, it's because they tell themselves that they can never catch a break, never get ahead, and that they never have any money. What you tell yourself matters because what you think affects how you feel. And how you feel shapes the actions you take, and eventually the actions you take affect the results you get. So every time you tell yourself, I'm no good with money, I'm always broke, I could never do that, I could never afford that, I could never make that much, I'll never get out of debt, or any of those other money lies that you tell yourself, you're giving your mind the excuse that it needs to sit back, be lazy, and just let it happen. If your mind doesn't have to work hard to find new or creative ways to solve your money problems because, hey, it doesn't matter, I'll always be poor anyways, then you really are doomed to a very poor life. Now, back in episode 1, I told you my personal story about why I got into the financial business and why good finances have always been important to me. I had 2 very different childhoods growing up, depending on the week of the month, both filled with love, but only one household filled with money. I lived half my time in a house that never had any money and could never get ahead, and the other half in a house where money wasn't a problem and we used it for a better, more enjoyable life. Now, for 2 weeks of the month, I heard all of the things that poor people say about money. If I could just get some overtime, but the boss won't give it to me. If this wouldn't have happened, if that person wouldn't have done that. Rich people don't have to work that hard. Money is evil, and on and on and on. And for a lot of us, that's actually how we develop these negative mindsets that we have about money and our own ability to get ahead. We heard it for years and years from grown-ups while we were young and impressionable. And then when we got older, we started repeating and saying those own things to ourselves that we heard when we were kids. Now, if this is you or how you grew up, you can change that script and you can change the future. And it's time to change your script and change your future. For starters, most people think that there is a limit to how much money there is or how much money they can have. But the truth is, money is like the ocean. Now, I'm sure that there is some kind of limit or amount of water that is actually in the ocean, but it's more than all of us on earth could use. If you go to the ocean with a bucket and you fill it with water and you take it with you, the ocean doesn't even notice. If you take 10 buckets, 100 buckets, 1,000,000 buckets of water, and then you turn around and you look at the ocean, it looks the exact same. There's more water than you could ever use in your lifetime. And you know what? The same is true about money. You've just got to get your bucket and start filling it up. You've got to change the script of what you tell yourself and what you tell others about money. You need a new money mantra. You've got to change your I ams, your I was's, and your I will be's. You should never tell anyone that you are poor. You may be temporarily out of money, but that's different than being poor. Being poor is a state of mind. You need to quit telling yourself that you are bad with money and instead tell yourself that, hey, I used to be bad with money, but now I'm getting better with it and I will be better from now on. Instead of telling yourself that you can't afford something, tell yourself, I am working on making more so that I can afford it in the future. Every time you catch yourself telling yourself or someone else a negative I am statement about money, change it to I was and then finish it with I will be. Change the script of what you tell yourself so that you believe that it's possible. Now, one thing I do every day is I tell myself that I deserve what I have. Now, I know at first that sounds a little bit cocky, but let me put it into context for you because it's actually very humbling. All of us have worked and earned and made decisions to get us to the financial position wherever we are today. Now, you may or may not like where you are, but you are there financially because you have worked and earned and done what you have done, and so you deserve what you have financially. You've put yourself there. That goes for both the goods and the bads. So saying that you deserve what you have is giving thanks for all of the good things, but also recognizing that if you don't yet have all of the things you want, it's because you haven't worked and earned, put in the time and effort, and you haven't deserved them yet. Maybe you haven't made the right decisions yet. I would love to have a second home in the mountains and drive there every weekend in my Ferrari, but I don't have either of those things yet because I haven't put in the time and effort. I haven't done what it takes to earn them, so I don't deserve them yet. The good news is that I believe I will have a second home in the mountains. And I keep my mind focused on finding new and creative ways to keep improving my money puzzle so that I can make that happen. I don't know about the Ferrari. That seems maybe a little impractical for a mountain car, but hey, who the heck knows? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now, I also tell myself that others deserve what they have. They've worked hard. They've put in the time. They've taken the risks, and they have figured out how to have the things that they have, so they deserve to have it. And by me telling myself that they deserve it, it helps keep jealousy at bay. It helps keep me from comparing myself to others. Because if you focus on what everyone else has, you'll never have enough. And the more time you spend thinking about all of the things that your neighbors have, the less time you have to spend thinking about how to get what you want and how to make your future come true and build your financial confidence. The only person you should be comparing yourself with is yourself. How are you doing compared to this time last quarter or last year? What steps have you taken or what improvements have you made in your own life? If you're growing and making progress towards your goals, you will eventually accomplish them. It's just a matter of time. And science says it starts with changing your script when it comes to money. So you need a new money mantra so you have a more positive money mindset. When you have a positive money mindset, you look for opportunities instead of seeing roadblocks. You recognize that every financial situation is fixable. You see the value of asking for help instead of struggling silently. And you accept that even small steps add up to progress, even if it's slow. So what kind of money mantras will help you get a more positive money mindset? Well, there's a lot you can use, from something very simple like telling yourself, I make better decisions and I get better with my money every day. Or, all of the money I will ever need to be financially confident and have the future that I dream of is out there just waiting for me to go get it. Personally, I like to tell myself it's only money and I will make more. Whatever it is you tell yourself about money, just make sure that you replace the negative I ams with I was and then finish it with I will be. I am not bad with money. I was bad with money, but I am getting better and I will be financially secure before you know it. It also helps if you give yourself some small, short-term goals that you can accomplish in order to give yourself some money momentum. If you've got $10,000 in credit card debt and you're making minimum payments, you're never seeing your balances fall, and that can seem very overwhelming and insurmountable. Then because of how you feel, you don't believe you'll get out of debt, and if you don't believe it, you won't take the actions needed to make it possible. So start with a small step. Add $50 to your next monthly payment. Add $75 to the payment after that. Now, I know that when you owe $10,000 on a credit card, an extra $50 or $75 won't do much to the balance, but it will do a ton to your belief system if you can have those small goals accomplished and get those small victories in your money life. We all have amazing potential within us, and we all have the ability to have the future that we dream of. You deserve it. Your family deserves it. You deserve to be financially confident. It's just a matter of believing that you can do it. And again, that starts with what you tell yourself about money. All right, that's it for today's hot topic. I hope that it helps. And I hope that you'll come back next week when my business partner Brian's coming down from Denver to join us for a conversation about a Vanguard study that came out about using a financial advisor. That should be a lot of fun. Make sure that you join us next week, and please make sure that you join us on social media. You can find all of our links in the show notes and on the website. Also, please tell a friend about us. If you've gotten any value out of today's show, please share it with a friend and give us a rating on whatever app you use to listen to your podcasts. That would help us out as well. If you've got a personal question about your own money puzzle, email it to us at questions@yourmoneypuzzle.com. All right, until next week, be safe, have a little bit of fun, and go out and do something to improve your money puzzle. You'll be glad you did, and I'll see you again next week.
Registered representative of and securities offered through Securities Management and Research, Inc., SM&R. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through BFC Planning, Inc. Edgen Insurance and Financial Services, Johnson Financial Services, SM&R, American National Family of Companies, and BFC Planning are independent entities. There are risks involved with investing which may include market fluctuation and possible loss of principal value. Particular investments may not be suitable for certain situations. Carefully consider the risks and possible consequences involved prior to making an investment decision. Our firm does not provide legal or tax advice. Be sure to consult with your own legal and tax advisors before taking any action that may have tax implications.